There's a value to that network. There's a value to that offer of cooperation with your peers.
Okay.
And the benefactor is the seller.
Okay, now that, Sam, you had a seminar earlier in the year. It was on dual agency, if I recall, and the hazards for agent to be involved in dual agency. Now we have this situation here that Robert just explained with a pocket listing. Now we're going to merge the pocket listing and dual agency, two landmine issues for the real estate licensee. And of course, the sellers are getting the short end of the deal here.
Well, you know, if you look at it this way, start with just the foundation of what a real estate agent has to do in representing a seller. Your job is to get them a qualified buyer in the highest price. Oversimplified. There's a lot of duties along the way, but that's your goal. If, like Robert said, if you put it out on the MLS, you got a higher group of, or a larger group of audience who can buy. Right now we're in a hot market, a lot of multiple offer scenarios, bidding wars going up. Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out the more people I have bidding, the more people I have looking at it, the higher the price goes. So now I represent the seller. What's my goal? My goal is get the highest price.
Right.
Well, if I cut out a segment, if I take them off the MLS, if I take a group and say you're excluded from the bidding, I'm not serving my clients' good interests.
Correct.
Now compound that, dual agency. In dual agency, we forgot to mention one thing. Why do people want to be a dual agent? You'd think with all the extra exposure, all the extra work, why? Increased commission. Remember, in a typical transaction, a real estate, the brokers are getting 5 to 6% of the deal, okay? That's their typical fee. Often they split it. Let's just use 6% for this example. So the agent representing the seller gets 3%, and the agent representing the buyer gets 3%.
Agencies, the firm.
The agencies, right.
Yeah.
So let's assume it's just one brokerage. Let's assume it's one person, they get 6%. Well, there's a financial attraction to being a dual agent.
Right.
You're getting both sides of the deal.
Right.
So now put that at the same time that you're trying to serve two people's interests, okay? What does the buyer want? The buyer wants the best house for the lowest price, right? Not rocket science there either.
Sure.
So now you have to deal with this conflict as a real estate agent. The law allows it and you can achieve it, but you need to understand those benchmarks. So when you talk about MLS, you are talking about a foundational obligation to the seller to try to broaden the marketing. What happens if you, as representing the seller, decide, I'm going to omit the MLS, I'm going to omit that audience? Well, you can do it. There's a lot of reasons to do it. Maybe they don't want that much exposure for the house. They don't want it all over the internet. They don't want pictures of their home everywhere. They're sophisticated sellers. They're just individuals who say, look, I understand my privacy rights. I understand what this means. I don't want the hassle. Real estate agent, I understand. You fully inform me. There's forms for them to fill out an initial, and it doesn't go on MLS. As long as that agent is fulfilling those obligations, explaining it to the seller and saying, you know, here's all your risks and so forth, then it's all good. But like Robert was just saying, averages show they're going to get a lower price. Not every time, but often they do. So what does that mean to a seller down the road? If you're a dual agent, what's the seller going to say? In hindsight, at the time they tell you, I heard you, they tell you, Mr. Real Estate Agent, oh, believe me, I completely understand. But when the neighbor next door sells for a lesser home for 100 grand more, all of a sudden they don't understand so well, and they're going to think, dual agent, why did you do this to me? And guess what they're going to say in response? What is that person's attorney going to say first thing out of the box? You wanted both commissions.
Okay.
You were a dual agent, and you pocket listed, you kept it off the MLS, whatever you want to say, but you didn't look out for my seller's interest. So that's why dual agency, which is hard to fulfill but doable, and off MLS, which is omitting a part of the market, is a tough thing to blend together for an agent.